Alrighty, I've been wanting to yap about Endless Ragnarok for a while now. It's already been 2 months, if you can believe it. Sadly, they haven't dropped any new showcases. It's only 3 more months until release, so I think they will be showing more in the future. But I kind of expected them to maybe bring stuff out in like a monthly interval, but it doesn't seem like it. But yeah, let's go into it. I want to go over the stuff that's actually new and interesting, so I'm not gonna like react to the entire showcase. And like what especially stood out to me that there were a few things that seems like they might aid support players, which I feel like were very neglected in the original Relink. Yeah, that game when it came out was insanely like you have to play a glass cannon DPS because you just had so little options. Back then they already improved, luckily, the support experience a little bit with adding things that like give you more damage with like a high health build, meaning tanks became more viable. Adding things like shield mechanic, which might be expanded on here, because back when the shield mechanic came out with the alpha, beta, gamma sigils, I'm not sure which one it is. That was, I believe, the only way to get shields actually at the time. So I'm pretty sure they will expand here with Endless Ragnarok on the shield mechanic and maybe make some additional support gameplay. I could see Maglielle maybe tapping into that, but I want to talk about Maglielle later. So let's get into it. So what I think is interesting here is that they like showcase the fight between against both of them at the same time. So I'm wondering if there might be also solo versions, kind of like Galance and Maglielle, right? That you like encounter by themselves first, and later on you fight against both of them at the same time, which, like, in my opinion, was in the original Relink one of the most difficult fights actually. I remember getting stuck on that for like quite a while. So yeah, I wonder if these will have like separate versions.
The greatest sword.
Now with these Ragnalias, they seem for the most part only like changed versions of already existing fights, right? We have the Griffin here. We'll also see Kerosene and the Flying Eyeball monster and so on. But there will probably also be some new ones. But for now, they only show us already existing bosses with like new versions.
Those mini trials are the apocalyptic Ragnalia.
I think this monster here especially has like already way too many way too many versions. We have like the normal version, right? We have like Inferno, we have the ice version. Like I think that one needing like a fourth or fifth version is maybe a bit much.
Stronger than any of the monsters previously fought in Zeka Grande.
So this is Kerosene, right? And here it actually has like a mask on it with like the glowing red eye. I think that looks actually pretty cool. But I was never a huge fan of Kerosene.
These fiends threaten to tear.
Now, here I'm not sure what this is actually. This could be... It's really hard to see because we only see its like dash animation. At first I thought it was the eyeball monster, but the eyeball monster we see like in a little
Land
bit.
asunder.
So here's the eyeball monster, and I think here it's kind of interesting because it's split up in 4. But if you actually look at the end of the dash here, you can see it like... It seemingly turns into like a larger monster, so apparently it can split up into smaller monsters. So I wonder if that is like a core mechanic of the fight where you have to switch between a large single target and multiple smaller targets potentially.
Source of power lies shrouded in.
Here again we see the kerosene version, right? It has apparently really big slow fields, which are already kind of like in the normal version of the fight, right?
Mystery, but take heart. Endless Ragnarok's many secrets and more are waiting to be untangled, and there's only one crew up to the job. Even Beelzebub, of Grand Blue Fantasy versus Infamy, will descend to inflict cruelty anew. His power and dominion are even grander than the Ragnalia, providing yet another insurmountable challenge for the party.
So we don't really see anything of the fight here, but in Versus, the fight, he has like an instant kill move at the very end, which is kind of like a DPS race, right? Like think Bahamut Rasa when he charges up and exposes his heart, or Lucilius with his final attack at like 15% HP. So we can very likely see something like this as well from this fight here. He also has like a lot of mobility, a lot of dashes. He can also fly, so this might come into play. He also has like very strong projectiles in versus, and there are a lot of phases where you are just focused on like dodging. So I can see maybe a lot of the mechanics that are in the versus fight translating to this. So if you're interested what this might look like, you could look up gameplay of Grapple Fantasy Versus of the boss fight. He's the final boss of like the main story mode. It continues after the boss fight as well, but like he's technically the final boss.
For his true objectives.
Oh, and I definitely hope we get to hear Existence for his boss fight. So Existence is like his song that plays during the versus boss fight. And I hope we see it here too, because I think that's like one of the best songs in Grand Blue. I really, really enjoy that song.
You'll have to sit tight to find out more. Speaking of challenges, the Crew Alliance Rafal have teamed up with the Eternals to offer Chaos Tier quests.
So Chaos Tier, I assume, will be a difficulty beyond Prot. Or perhaps it's just a modifier, I'm not sure. But I'm gonna assume it's a new difficulty. I set it back when our Relink was still active and was getting updates that I was hoping for a new difficulty. That would maybe change how like potions function and things like that. So I think a large part of like what holds support gameplay back in the game is the fact that we have like access to so many potions, right? Like anyone who's running like Potion Hoarder, level 15, they have like 3 self-revive potions. They have like 5 or 6 blue potions to heal the entire party for half health. They have like 5 full heals, and then like I don't know how many of the smaller ones. I generally don't run Potion Hoarder. I don't really like this issue. I think it was a really bad game design. Now I get why they probably did it, because they don't want like healers to be mandatory in the game, right? But I just think it's a huge waste of potential. So I'm hoping that, and I was already hoping back then, that if there will be a new difficulty tier, that they maybe rein in like potions a little bit, either by locking them out, maybe for certain challenges, or for like a modifier, or perhaps just like nerfing them, as in maybe the potions at least heal less in the higher difficulty. And that could maybe get more value out of support players. That was like a really big gripe, and especially frustrating if you play a character that has a res. I mean, there's only Cagliostro and the captain that have a res, but I also Cagliostro main, so. And I think one of the most frustrating things is running the resurrection spell and people just immediately popping their self-res potions and not even letting you like use your cooldown, you know? I think that's one of the most frustrating things. Like a lot of times it feels like you have like 3 support spells equipped on Cagliostro and you don't really get to use them at all. And if you like need a lot of healing, your cooldowns are too long anyway. But yeah.
These represent some of the most difficult missions in the game, but in turn,
Very interesting here that we see. So this is entirely new fight, right? This is like the crabs that we collect, and I guess this is like the king crab. I don't think they showed
provide
too
new
much here.
avenues for powering and gear.
Yeah, the crab didn't even do like
Bring
a
up the
single
crew.
attack. So here, very interesting, right? If you look to the right, we see Insight, Essence, and Crux. So these seem to be new progression. We can also see it here, I
Difficult
believe,
missions in the game,
briefly
but
in
in
the
turn,
menu.
provide new avenues for powering and
If you look here, what is new in the menu, right? We have party gear skills, which is like as before. Summons and master traits. So these 2 things are entirely new. Masteries had before, but perhaps they expand on the mastery system. I kind of hope they do. I feel like back then already they could have done way more with the mastery system. As it is right now, for the most part, you're just getting everything in your skill tree and that's it. And like, you don't have to make any meaningful choice in your character progression. You just get everything eventually, which is very lame. And all these other options are like the same, right? So these are the only ones that we know are like entirely new, and we'll see a little bit of it.
Gearing up the crew to
And here the interesting part. So we have, let's turn this off. We have these three things here that I'm not sure if you can change these or if these are like set in stone already for every character. So one thing we notice immediately here, right? Total equipped, 2 of 2. It seems like you will be able to take these on and off, I would assume. And at first I thought, oh wait, they're giving us like a mechanic that where we actually have to choose, right? Like maybe we can only use like one of these, but it seems like you can use all of them at the same time. And so you don't have to like choose which one is active, so all three seem to be active. And the thing that worries me here is we have only 3 levels of each, and we have no idea what the level cap of this is, right? Maybe we'll just be in another situation where we can just max it out, like the masteries, and we don't have any meaningful choices. I do hope the system will be more deep and we will have choices in the sense of maybe we can equip different variants of like, maybe there's different insights. So one insight is artfully adept, right? And then another insight might be, I don't know, something else. And like maybe all of these like subcategories have like different versions underneath them. But I cannot tell right now. We also don't really see too much what they really do. But we get a brief glimpse, especially on Combat Healer.
face the Ragnalian threat.
Okay, so here what we see, right? These are like the three master styles that are already equipped. And we can like briefly see what they do. This one here, Artfully Adept, right? We see it gives an attack boost based on arts level, combo finisher damage based on arts level, and at arts level 10 we get like arts level 4 we get like a huge 10% cooldown reduction, right? Now this seems to be kind of the what already exists, right, for the captain as like a hidden mechanic, where we get like cooldown reduction by leveling up your arts level and stuff. So this is not really too new, nothing too crazy, but I think it's nice to get like an additional cooldown reduction. Because I feel like in the end game, a lot of spells feel kind of underwhelming because they have relatively low damage, and the cooldowns are like usually not that great. So I'm curious how far this might go, if this is like, if the 10 to 20%, as example, right, is this like max already at this, or does this go higher if you level it up further? It's kind of hard to tell here. It could also just be, you know, as your arts level goes up, right, like the effect boosts, which technically would make sense, but I kind of wish there was like a preview of like how strong would the effect look like if you actually level it up. So let's go over the next one. So this is the combat healer, right? You gain combat healer upon casting a healing skill. Effect strength plus 10%, damage cap plus 20%. I don't really like this at all. Like, this seemed greater than it is at first, to be honest. I'm kind of hoping that there's maybe something that lets you actually like use your healing skills more, or like be more proficient at them. Because as it is right now, like with my support calculator, right, I can maybe heal like 25k, which doesn't even mean I can like heal most people to full health easily. But meanwhile, we have like Seofon who just heals like 100k, right? Like he just full heals everyone, which I think is kind of crazy. And yeah, this is basically just, oh, if you use a healing skill, you get like more damage. It seems kind of like not good. But it might be an indicator for maybe you can actually change this, right? Because the thing with the captain is the captain has 16 skills, and not all of them are healing skills. So it would be kind of weird if they force you to use this when you might not even run like a healing ability, right? I'm also not going to assume that they will let you use more abilities on your character. So you have like always access to your full arsenal. I doubt that they would go down that route. So maybe there's like two things that I'm thinking here. Maybe you can switch it out for something else, or you just don't level it up. What you see here in the bottom left as well is the race level. And the level here seems to be like really easily achieved. Like 3,000 mastery points is not a lot. um, I mean, maybe it is for people who aren't like hardcore grinding the game, but like I'm basically always capped at my mastery points. Like I already leveled everything, right? So I kind of feel like when this update drops, I can probably like instantly level like a ton of things. And we also see next bonus at like 5 mastery levels, you get a bonus to health, attack, and I'm not sure what this other symbol is. It might be break, maybe, but I'm not 100% sure what this third symbol here is. But we already see there will be a bonus going from probably level 1 to level 5. So I'm wondering how many of these bonuses will there be? How many levels will there be? What's a bit worrying maybe is that like since the first bonus seems to be at level 5, that probably means there will be a lot of level ups, I would assume. And if there's a lot of level ups, how do they handle these essence points, right? Because if every one of these essences can level up 3 times, and you see here the cost to level up 1 rank is 1, right? So do we get like 1 essence point for every level? It kind of seems like it, because we are mastery level 2 here, and we have 2 points, and we have 2 equipped, right? So if you're level 5, that would probably mean we are having 5 points at that point. And if you have 5 points, you can almost max out 2 of these 3 traits, right? So I'm wondering, how far does this go? How high level will this go? Will you cap out your points and you will just max out everything in the end again? Which I think is extremely lame and boring. And I really hope we don't see that.
Greater threats require greater firepower, namely, summons. Lyria, eager to support her allies, decides to enter the fray with her ability to call and control primal beasts. Calling summons.
I can definitely see that summons will be included, right? Because it's such a main part in like the original Grand Blue. They are basically something you always have access to as long as you have the captain and like the main combat, right? And they give you like stat boosts and everything. And I'm not sure how I feel about playable summons, to be honest. I personally never had the feeling, oh man, I would really like to play Furican, or would really like to play Monogarma, right? I mean, it could be cool if you know, like someone like Bahamut, which will very likely be the case that you can summon Bahamut as well, right? And you already got to play Bahamut, and those were like cool sections, but I'm not sure if I would need them, to be honest. I would personally probably go with like a stat stick. That's something that, you know, like just buffs, because they already showed that like you have like 2 types of summon here. You have like the ones that you can control, and then there are ones that you can summon and they basically just give you like a buff, or they do something else for you, and you don't have to like play as them. So we have like a rarity here, so that means maybe there will be like a super rare version with like Furicane, what was the version called? The Nihil version or something, like the purple demonic version, right? We have Goblin Warrior 2, and we see here here's 1, right? So maybe there's just the same summon, but like a higher version could also be the case. We get rates on them. Critical hit damage. And then additionally a stat with critical hit rate, right? I'm wondering if you might see something crazy down here as well, with like really rare summons. But it's definitely nice that we have like new things to get us more traits and stats. I'm a bit worried though, because I feel like there will probably be something like a damage cap or something else that will just like dominate, like with sigils, and you'll probably be kind of forced to use those. I kind of hope that maybe there will be something that like also boosts like your healing and your cooldown, stuff like that, right? But I don't know. It's Granblue. They usually don't like support playsets too much, even in like the OG Granblue, right? Like a lot of people they just like try to one turn boss fights instead of like trying to have like, what's the point of extending the fight if you could
Is
just
simple.
make
First,
your
obtain the
team kill everything quickly? Charge attack damage, level 10. That is like a really strong effect, to be honest. And the thing is also that you can equip 4 of these, right? So this kind of looks like we have like at least 4 additional trade slots that we have access to, which basically means it's like 2 plus sigils, right? Or like 4 normal sigils worth of like stats that we gain. That is like really big. It just depends like how strong some of these effects will be. Will they be like dominating the meta where you have to take like 4, like damage caps? Maybe the damage cap cannot be boosted further, since they might just add those traits to your original trait level, right? And if you're already running like your 4 alpha, beta, gamma sigils, you already have like damage cap 65, and then you don't get any benefit from maybe using like a damage cap trait. Could be the case. We'll have to see.
ally over the course of the story,
Quick cooldown.
and then equip them. They'll materialize.
Dodge payback, level 14. So this is basically like going up to the effect of like an entire like maxed out level 5 sigil, right? And you also see here critical hit rate up 14%. Is also like really high actually. And here we also see like a buff variant, right? Grants cumulative effects to the party based on how many cats come out to say hello. 1 cat 15% damage. 2 cats damage cap 15% damage. 3 cats skill damage plus 15% damage. Now, how strong will this effect be? I have the feeling probably not too strong. I'm gonna be assuming the damage cap will not be total damage cap, but it will be adding to your existing damage cap, right? And considering everyone already has like over 400% damage cap, you're maybe looking at like a damage increase of like, if I take like my character with calculus, right? Like my basic attacks do like 60k plus damage, and then maybe that's like 62k, something along those lines. So hard to say.
At your command. Once materialized, most summons can be freely controlled, but act quickly, as their presence is temporary. Other allies will provide supportive boosts and beneficial stat increases.
I'm a bit worried that these cutscenes are like really long. Like if I'm, like going ham there, I don't want to be stuck watching like a bunch of like knights chant for like 5 seconds, I'm not gonna lie. But perhaps we can abuse this as like iframes. Like you're about to get blasted by a mechanic, right? Like, I don't know, something's about to hit you, and you pop your summon, and you're watching that little cutscene for like 5 seconds, and at that time maybe you're like invulnerable, and you can avoid like damage that way. I feel like that might be kind of broken. I hope that's not the case, because I think the game's already not that hard.
And a special few will be
I think it's pretty big there, though. If you look that, this actually gives debuff immunity. Debuff immunity for like your party is not something that easy to come by. I only know of the captain that can give you that. Is there any other character that can give you debuff immunity? So even if it's like not on a character, you can still maybe add a little bit of like pretty valuable support or utility through those summons. I mean, so far we've only seen 2 effects. One damage boost that seems kind of negligible. And then this debuff immunity here.
Will be automatically invoked by Lyria if the party pulls off a primal burst, a new type of chain burst.
I'm a bit worried about this too. Don't get me wrong. They will probably look really cool, but I'm worried to add like more screen time to these SBAs, right? Because I already think like SBA gameplay is too strong and kind of boring because it gives you so much free time to just hit the enemy without retaliation, right? And then we also add like a little cutscenes at the end to make them even longer. Not a big fan.
Looking for a truly megalithic 1-2 punch to end your foes.
Now, I don't know if you can like play during the section here, at least where the explosion is like going on, right? But if you have to wait until like this explosion is over to be able to play again, oh my god, like I do not want to wait. How many seconds is this? Let's go back here. So we start here at 8:05.
Party pulls off a primal burst.
When does this
a new
end?
type of chain burst, making for a truly megalithic 1-2 punch to end your foes.
I mean, here you can see your move in the bottom left, so maybe you can actually play. But with this cinematic camera angle here, I'm a bit unsure, because if everyone sees it like this, it's going to be really awkward to play, right? But yeah, this entire thing basically took 10 seconds to play.
Of course, Relink.
I mean, crossplay is like something the game badly needs, right? I mean, it was already really annoying because when I started the game, right, I got it on PlayStation because I wanted to play it as soon as possible. Then I had to start all over because, well, I prefer playing on PC because like consoles is not that easy for me to play. So really good. Obviously, it's gonna make it a lot easier to play with other people, right? And I believe they also lift the region locks, which is gonna help a ton.
Of course, Relink's beloved 4-player online co-op is making a triumphant return. But this time, the co-op is crossing new boundaries with multi-platform crossplay. Nintendo Switch 2, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4.
I think we can skip this, not too interesting. New solo mode.
And for those who prefer to fly
So
solo,
this could be kind of like a roguelite, right? Also, this wheel here in the back, that's actually the gacha wheel that you have during events in the original Granblue. So I guess we will be rolling on. I don't know what we will be rolling on, but we will be rolling on something. Could be rewards, could be like stat boosts, who knows, right?
Introducing the Conflux, a twisting labyrinth manifested from chaotic energy whose abyssal depths await brave explorers. With randomly generated stages, this abyss is anything but predictable.
I wonder how many of these stages in this new mode will be like fighting trash mobs, because I mean, there's a good reason I would say that trash mobs are not really existent in the Relink endgame, because they're just kind of a pushover, right? Not really that interesting to fight. So putting them here as filler, I mean, it makes total sense. But I always felt like the trash mobs were like extremely unengaging. And you see it also in like the co-op quests, right? The progression. At the beginning you have like a lot of trash mob quests, but basically once you reach, what difficulty is it? Very hard, I think. Maniac? That's kind of the point where you basically have like almost no trash mob quests, right? Except for the ones that let you farm like specific resources. like the slime quest.
However, intrepid pathfinders might just survive if they make use of Conflux.
So here we have different rarities. They called auras here. We also see at the top. Those probably the different categories. Where you might maybe get like set bonuses if you have these things. Although I mean it kind of says here. Oh yeah, right. This icon correlates to what is up here, right? This one is, we don't even see that, I believe. And then this is the same icon as this. So I guess the icon is like a set, and if you have like different effects from the same set, you will probably get like a boost. And what I think here is really interesting is this effect here. While protected by shield, critical damage plus 20%. Now, the reason why I think this one here is especially interesting, because in the current version of Granblue, we have basically no means to get shields, except for SBA with the Lucilia Sigil, right? That gives you a 50k shield. So, what I already alluded at the start of this video, I think they will be adding shield as like a new support mechanic, actually.
Specific buffs to bolster their surveys. The deeper the party traverses, the stronger they get, providing a fresh spin on adventure that differs from quests. Stages come in several different difficulty tiers, and by conquering them, the crew will be awarded.
Oh, what did that say though?
Stages come in
rewards weapon forging materials, sigil upgrade materials up to level 10.
difficulty tiers.
Okay. Weapon uncap up to 6-star and awakening materials. Okay.
By conquering them, the crew will be awarded with powerful equipment and materials.
I wonder if there will be like a leaderboard for your scores. Although I already know that if there will be a leaderboard for the scores, people will cheat anyway and it will be meaningless. So there's that. But if you look at the drops here, none of this seems like too interesting at first sight. Right? But what we also might want to consider is that even if these drops might seem meaningless to us at the moment because they're basically useless to us in the current game, maybe we will need these materials to get like things like summons, right? Like I could definitely see there's maybe like a gacha system for the summons, and then you can also level up the summons, and maybe we will like need these materials there as well, right, for these summons. Like in the original Granblue, you need like the anima, I believe, a lot to like level up your summons as well, so could go that direction maybe.
Which can be used to enhance and awaken new strength.
Select a bundle of treasure to redeem your boons for. So I guess depending on how well you do, you can choose here, but there's a limit on these. Statues of the Proud, Officials of the Maniac. I wonder what this means. I would love to see that. Primarch's Ascension Awakening. So Eternal Ascension Awakening and Primarch Ascension Awakening probably refers to Seofon Tweyen, right? That you get the Awakening materials for the weapon here. The same here for Thunderphone. Terminus. Terminus is, that's Bahamut weapon, right? Kind of forgot. I think Terminus is Bahamut, I believe. And then Ascension Awakening is like the weapons that nobody uses. I said. I mean, I like a lot of them more than the Terminus weapons, to be honest. But yeah. Also, it says here 6-star bounty, right? Will that mean there will be like a new level for weapons, like a 6th level? Right now, weapons only go up to 5, right? Copper Trough of Merit. Merits are the upgrade materials as well, right? And then I could assume Sigils of Maniac, Sigils of Proud, maybe it's like sigils that you get like from that specific difficulty. A bit worrying with the limit. Maybe is this limit daily? Is this limit a weekly or something like that? And they're like not wanting you to grind hardcore for this. So here, right, we see the 4 new playable characters. So I'm gonna assume there will be more, right? Like, I think we can all agree Roland deserves more. Let's be real here. I feel like Roland should have already been a playable character with like at least the DLC or with like the patches, right? But my boy is not getting any love. I feel like Roland should become playable at some point. But just because they only show 4 new playable characters here, right, doesn't mean that will be all of them. They could still be coming more. So of course we have like Beatrix and Maglielle, Galance, and off screen here we have Eustace, which I'm really happy for, by the way. I really like the inclusion of Eustace because he's like my second favorite character in Grand Blue after Lucio. I mean, I will never get my boy Lucio, but it is what it is, right? We cannot have everything. Um, I find it a bit questionable that we get 2 more members of the society. So for the people who don't know, when I refer to the society, it's like the people that came from the moon, and part of the society is also Seta and oh my god, I'm so sorry, I forgot the name. Vasaraga. Vasaraga is the other member, right? So we'll have 4 members of the society, and we are not getting new characters from other factions in the game, right? Like Granblue has like so many characters. And I was really hoping we would maybe see some Evokers. But I was kind of hoping to see Evokers because in Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising, the new version of Versus, right? We got Evokers in the form of Nier. And I was hoping maybe we would also get to see Nier. I would really love to see that character in this game as well. Could also be like a unique archetype with like summoning death, which I guess might be a little bit overlap with Catalina, but maybe could also be like a more full-on summoner. But I'm going completely off topic. So, as I said here before, we have 2 new members of the society. I don't really give a fuck about Beatrix. That's one thing though. What I'm most interested here is Maglielle. I want a Maglielle playable like basically since the beginning. She was like the second character I wanted the most playable after it, but I mean, when you play through the story, you unlock it anyway, right? But like, when the game came out, I had no idea that would be the case, even if I was hoping for it. But yeah, I have pretty high hopes that like Maglielle will be a support archetype, and the reason why I'm thinking that is because let's go over what does Maglielle have, right? Maglielle has a barrier that she can summon. She has in her SBA, she calls I believe the staff is called Caticos, something like this. It's like this healing stuff, right? If you don't take it out, she heals herself. I'm not sure if it actually heals Galanza too if you're in the duel fight, because usually that stuff just instantly dies anyway, so you don't really have to deal with that mechanic too much. And in her SBA, she calls like multiple legendary weapons, like Freikugel, I believe, is one of them as well. It's like the gun. Isn't that the weapon that... no. I was being silly here for a moment. Uses as Flamek. I was just thinking because it's also like a long gun. But yeah. She summons like these weapons in her SBA. And I'm just thinking she has access to a healing summon, basically, quote unquote, a summon. She has the barrier, right? And what she also has, like, in her, like, when you fight her, she has, like, a lot of area of effect. I kind of would see it as, like, crowd control. Like, she kind of forces you to move around a lot, right? If, like, the little drone is above you and shoots constantly, you have to be on the move. She has, like, these rings that form around you that you have to jump over or block. So she has, like, a lot of, like, area denial / crowd control, I would say. So I can see that Maglielle will be like a DPS support hybrid. Maybe she'll have like some CC. I can definitely see her maybe being the first character that will have shields. So maybe she can apply, instead of like a healing, she can apply a shield, which would be very, very interesting. I could also see her apply a barrier that like nullifies a certain amount of attacks potentially. Might be too strong though. So maybe could be something like you can like put a barrier on the entire party, right? And it will block like one attack. But this barrier will only last for like 5 seconds, so you kind of have to time it, and the barrier can be broken by like really strong attacks, right? Kind of like when you fight her. If you like straight up SPA her, you just break her barrier, right? And maybe something like this will be where she can apply like a barrier that can block a certain amount of damage, but if that tag is like too strong, it will just go straight through. So you cannot abuse it against like you know, like bloodthirst mechanics or something like that are like supposed to one-shot you. And yeah, I could definitely see her maybe applying a shield as like temporary health. Maybe that shield only lasts for like, I don't know, a certain amount of time as well, instead of like staying on you until you get hit, right? Because the current only shield that we have is like the Lucilius Sigil, the 50k shield. And that shield, I believe it stays on you basically until it's like getting hit, right? Until it's getting chewed through. So yeah, I could definitely see Maglielle be like a new support. One thing that's a bit confusing here, if you go over Beatrix, I actually didn't really want to talk about her, but they mentioned here that she has like different specs, right? In her like unique mechanic. And I kind of want to go over that. So here we see the Delta Clock, right? And it seems like this Delta Clock will have a healing spec as well, which they say here in the showcase.
Button causes Beatrix's Delta Clock to advance. Depending on the position of the clock's hand, Beatrix will shift between buffs, which enhance her attack, defense, or healing spec.
Buff her healing spec. Now, what the fuck does this mean? Because this character is supposed to be like a DPS, right? She's supposed to be a damage dealer. It doesn't sound from the way they talk about her in the showcase that she is like a support. So does she have a support ability too? Or what is the healing spec supposed to boost? Is the healing spec supposed to boost the healing that she receives, maybe? Because they talk here at the end as well about like how she is like a strong offensive fighter if she has like allies to back her up with support. I have no idea what this is supposed to mean. This is what I mean. Let's listen to this again.
If she's the one getting buffed and healed, she makes for an aggressive offensive specialist.
If she's the one getting buffed and healed, she's making for an offensive specialist. I don't know. Why does she have a healing spec? Does she have a support ability or not? It doesn't really make sense to me, because this very much sounds like she is supposed to be like a really strong damage dealer that thrives when she gets support from her party. She doesn't sound like she is the one doing any support at all, to be honest. So I find this very, very confusing. So yeah, this was pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. A lot of autistic rambling about my favorite video game. If there will be more showcases or anything interesting to talk about, I might go over more. We still have 3 months, so I do believe they will be showing us more things. If you weren't around for the pre-release of like Ramble Fantasy Relink, they had like a lot of like showcases and like live streams and just, you know, like talking about the game, showing us things. It made kind of the wait really torturous, because I was so excited for the game when it initially came out. I literally couldn't like sleep for days. But yeah, definitely looking forward to more news about the game, and maybe I'll cover them as well. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.